Dr. D. Prem Anand. He has pursued his Master's, his MPhil and PhD in Physics from Loyola College, Madras University. He has been actively doing research since 2004. His area of specialization is crystal growth and its characterizations, nanomaterials and polymers which are used in solid-state batteries. He is guiding 6 more research scholars in the field of crystal growth, nanoscience and polymer science. He has published more than 75 research papers and he currently works as a professor of physics at St. Xavier's College, Palayamkotte, Tamil Nadu.
Welcome to UGC lecture series in physics. So far, we have been listening to a series of lectures on thermal physics. In this lecture series, we are going to discuss about some of the basic concepts in thermodynamics. In order to understand about thermodynamics, we should need to understand about a thermodynamic system. Therefore, what is a thermodynamic system? A thermodynamic system is one which can be described in terms of thermodynamic coordinates. The coordinates of a thermodynamic system can be represented by any pair of quantities like pressure, temperature, volume and entropy. The concept of thermodynamic coordinates can be extended to a various number of fields like engineering and physics. In engineering, the coordinates of the thermodynamic system can be extended to systems like gas, liquid, steam, ammonia and its vapor. Similarly, in the case of physics, the coordinates of a thermodynamic system can be extended to systems like stretching a wire, surface films and reversible cells. Take for an example, in the case of a stretched wire, if you would like to calculate the Young's modulus of the material of the wire, the thermodynamic coordinates are the stretching force of the wire, the length of the wire and the temperature of the wire. Similarly, if you would like to calculate the surface tension of a surface film, the thermodynamic coordinates are the surface tension, the area of the film and the temperature of the film. Likewise, if you would like to calculate the thermodynamic coordinates for a reversible cell, the coordinates for the system can be the EMF of the cell, the charge that flows and the temperature of the cell. Likewise, many number of coordinate systems can be extended to many parameters. Then what is a thermodynamic system which is in equilibrium? A thermodynamic system which is in equilibrium is nothing but if any one of the two coordinates, let us say the coordinates may be x and y, and these two coordinates should remain constant unless an external agency also remains constant. Say for example, let us consider a gas enclosed in a cylinder fitted with a piston. Let P be the pressure of the gas and V be the volume of the gas. Then the pressure and volume of the gas should remain constant unless the temperature or the pressure remains unchanged. So, in order to explain further, we can consider 3 systems, 3 liquid systems. Let us label the liquid systems as A, B and C. In the case of the liquid systems A, B and C, if A and B are in thermal equilibrium with C, it obviously means that A and B are thermally equilibrium. This is called the zeroth law of thermodynamics. The zeroth law of thermodynamics was formulated after the first and second law of thermodynamics, and this zero law of thermodynamics is useful to define the temperature of a body. Let us consider 3 liquid systems A, B and C. As we have said earlier, let us say that A and B or in thermal equilibrium. Mathematically, we can calculate the zeroth law of thermodynamics. Likewise, let us consider three fluids. Let us label those fluids as capital A, capital B and capital C. And as we have said earlier, A and B are thermally in equilibrium. Therefore, we can write mathematically this liquid system as, let P A be the pressure of the liquid system A and let V A be the volume of the liquid system A, and similarly let P B is the pressure on the liquid system B and let V B is the volume on the liquid system B. Therefore, mathematically this statement can be written as pi 1 of P A comma V A can be written as, that is equal to pi 2 of P B comma V B. So, this is an equation. This equation can be written in a compact form as F 1 of P A comma V A, P B comma V B is equal to 0. So, now let us calculate the pressure on the system B. Therefore, P B is equal to, it is F 1 of P A comma V A comma V B. Let us say this is equation 1. Therefore, the pressure on the system B is, it is a function of pressure and volume on the liquid system A and volume on the liquid system B. And let us say that B and C are in thermally equilibrium. Therefore, B is a one liquid system and C is another liquid system. This B and C are in thermal equilibrium. Therefore, mathematically the equation for pressure and volume for the system B and C can be written as pi 2 of P B comma V B, that is equal to pi 3 of P C comma V C. So, therefore, this can be written as, it is F 2 of P B comma V B comma P C V C is equal to 0. Let us now calculate what is the pressure on the liquid system B. Therefore, this P B is equal to, it is F 2 of, it is V B comma P C comma V C. This is equation 2. So, when you look at these equations 1 and 2, it is clear that these two systems are equal. So, therefore, these two systems can be written neatly as F 1 of P A comma V A comma V B, that is equal to F 2 of V B comma P C comma V C. So, this is equation 3. So, when you look at these equations 1, 2 and 3, basically this third equation is equal. And when you look at this third equation, we have the parameters P A, V A, V B. On the right hand side, we have V B, P C and V C. We have seen this second equation and third equation. In the second equation, A and B are in thermal equilibrium. In the third equation, B and C are in thermal equilibrium. Similarly, this, if A and C are in thermal equilibrium, we can write F 3 of P A comma V A, P C comma V C is equal to 0. So, let us say this equation as 4. This equation 4 contains variable V B, whereas the equation 5, we can write this equation 5 as does not contain the variable V B. It means that pi 1 of PA comma VA is equal to pi 2 comma PC VC. In general, we can write this as pi 1 of PA comma VA is equal to pi 2 comma PA comma VB is equal to pi 3 of PC VC. So, this, let us say this is equation 5. So, equation 5 can be a generalized equation which can be written as pi of P comma V is equal to T. This is equation 6. Equation 6 is known as the equation of the state of the fluid, and this equation of state of the fluid defines the temperature of the system. Let us now go into the contents of some of the basic concepts in thermodynamics. The contents are the concept of heat, heat a path function, work a path function, comparison of heat and work, irreversible and reversible processes, and second law of thermodynamics. What is basically a heat? The law of conservation of energy states that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. Energy which disappears in one form will reappear in another form without any loss. Therefore, we can say that heat is also a form of energy. The heat can be transferred from one place to the other by three different ways. They are conduction, convection, and radiation. What is conduction? Conduction is a process where there is a transfer of heat within the substance without the actual motion of the particles. Let us take a metal rod. The metal rod has two ends, end A and end B. Let us suppose that end A of the metal rod is dipped into a hot flame. The other end of the metal rod is held on the hand. What we can observe is that heat passes through the metal rod from end A to end B. That is, at the end A, there is a higher amount of heat energy with a higher amplitude, and this higher amplitude of heat energy is transmitted to the particle, after the particle, and so on, and reaches on the other end. In the other sense, there is no actual motion of the particles from one system to the other, but only there is a transverse of heat from one end to the other, and this process is called conduction. This conduction is an important property of solids, and it is mainly used in Davis safety lamp. Then what is convection? Convection is a process where the heat is transmitted from one place to the other with the actual motion of the particles. Say for example, land and sea breezes are an example of convection phenomenon. And what is radiation? Radiation is a process where the heat is transmitted from one place to the other without the material medium. The sun's radiation from the sun is emitted to the earth without any intervening medium. Therefore, there are three possible modes of heat transfer. One is conduction, other is convection, the third one is radiation. What is a concept of heat? Heat is defined as the energy in transit. As it is not possible to speak of work in a body, it is also not possible to speak of heat in a body. Work is either done on a body or by a body. Similarly, heat can flow from a body or to a body. Let us say that if a body is at a constant temperature, it has both mechanical and thermal energies due to the molecular agitation, and it is not possible to separate them. So, what happens in this case? In this case, we cannot talk of heat energy. It means that if the flow of heat stops, the word heat cannot be used. It is only used when there is a transfer of energy between two or more systems. Let us consider a system A and B which is in thermal contact with one another and surrounded by adiabatic walls. Let us calculate what is the heat energy for the system A. For the system A, the heat energy is denoted by the symbol capital H. The capital H is nothing but it is the difference of the internal energies and final internal energies and the sum of the work done. And this can be mathematically written as, for the system A, it is U2 minus U1 plus W, where H is the heat energy transferred, U1 is the initial internal energy, U2 is the final internal energy, and W is the work done. Similarly, we can calculate what is the total heat energy for the system B. For the system B, we can designate the symbol as H dash, that is H dash is the heat energy in the system B. That heat energy H dash is equal to U2 dash minus U1 dash plus W dash. Let us add this equation. When you add these two equations, H plus H dash is equal to U2 minus U1 plus W plus U2 dash minus U1 dash plus W dash. Collecting all the like terms, the next expression becomes H plus H dash is equal to U2 plus U2 dash minus U1 plus U1 dash plus W plus W dash. Therefore, this equations has three terms, that is U2 and U2 dash, U1 and U1 dash, and W and W dash. That is, the total change in the internal energy of the composite system is nothing but it is U2 plus U2 dash minus U1 plus U1 dash. And similarly, the work done by the composite system is W plus W dash. It means that the heat transferred by the composite system is equal to H plus H dash. But the composite system is surrounded by adiabatic walls. Since the composite system is surrounded by the adiabatic walls, the net heat transferred is 0. Therefore, this equation becomes H plus H dash is equal to 0 and H is equal to minus H dash. So, what I am trying to emphasize is that for two systems in thermal contact with exactly other and the composite system surrounded by adiabatic walls, the heat gained by the system is equal to the heat lost by the system. Let us move on to the next topic, heat, a path function. As we already said, heat is a form of energy. This heat energy can be transferred from one place to the other. Therefore, heat is a path function. When a system changes from state 1 to state 2, it means that, say for example, the system changes from solid to liquid, then the quantity of heat transferred will depend upon the intermediate changes through which the system passes. Therefore, what we can say is that heat is an inexact differential and it is written as, on integrating this equation we get delta of H, where the lower limit is 1A and the upper limit is 2A. When you integrate this, it is the heat energy 1A and 2A, where 1A, 1H and 2H represents the heat transferred during the given process between the states 1 and 2 along a particular path A. Let us now move on to the next topic, what is work. Work is nothing but it is the product of force into displacement, or work done W is equal to, it is F dot S, or it is Fs cos theta, where W is the work done, F is the force and S is the displacement, and theta is the angle between the force and the displacement. Now, let us prove that the work is a path function. Let us take the two coordinates, pressure and volume. Let pressure be along the y axis and volume along the x axis. Suppose that a system is taken from initial equilibrium state 1. The state 1 refers the path travelled by the heat, that is capital A, in this direction, and the path 2 is in the anticlockwise direction. These two processes are known as quasi-static process. Therefore, since this is a quasi-static process, the areas under these curves are different and hence the quantities of the work done are also different. Therefore, for the path A, that is for the path 1, we can write W is equal to, it is integral del W, that is equal to del W is integral P dV. Similarly, for the path B, W is equal to integral del W, where the path extends from 1B to 2B, that is P dV. Therefore, the values of WA and WB are not equal. Therefore, work cannot be expressed as a difference between the values of some property of the system in the two states. Therefore, it is not correct to represent W is equal to delta W, that is equal to W2 minus W1. Therefore, it may be pointed out that it is meaningless to say work in a system or work of a system, and work cannot be interpreted similar to the temperature of a pressure of a system. In terms of calculus, delta W is an inexact differential. It means that W is not a property of the system, and integral delta W cannot be expressed as the difference between two quantities that depend entirely on the initial and final states. Hence, heat and work are path functions and they depend only on the process. They are not point function, you should remember, such as pressure or temperature. Therefore, the work done in taking the system from state 1 to state 2 will be different for different paths. Now, let us compare what is heat and work. There are many similarities between heat and work. I would like to quote some similarities. That is, heat and work are both transient phenomenon. System do not possess heat or work. When a system undergoes a change, heat transfer or work done may occur. Therefore, heat and work are boundary phenomenon. They are observed at the boundary of the system, and heat and work represents the energy crossing the boundary of the system. Heat and work are path function and hence they are inexact differentials. They are written as delta H and delta W. Similarly, heat is defined as the form of energy that is transferred across a boundary by virtue of difference of temperature or temperature gradient. Work is said to be done by a system if the sole effect on the things external to the system could be the raising of the weight. Now, let us discuss the next topic, irreversible process. The thermodynamical state of a system can be defined with the help of a thermodynamical coordinates of the system. The state of a system can be changed by altering the thermodynamical coordinates, and also changing from one state to the other by changing the thermodynamical coordinates is called a process. So, in order to understand the process, let us consider two states of a system. Let us say that the two states are state A and state B. The change of state from A to B or vice versa is a process, and the direction of the process will depend upon a new thermodynamical coordination of the process, will depend upon a new thermodynamical coordinate called entropy, or in other words we can say entropy is a measure of disorder. All the processes are not possible in the universe. Let us consider the following process. Let us consider two blocks A and B. Let us say that they are at different temperatures T1 and T2, where the temperature T1 is greater than T2 and it is kept at contact, but the system as a whole is insulated from the surroundings. Therefore, what happens? The conduction of heat takes place between the blocks, the temperature of A falls and the temperature of B rises, and there is a thermodynamical equilibrium. Similarly, let us consider a flywheel rotating with an angular velocity omega. Its kinetic energy is half mv squared. Since the flywheel is rotating, its initial kinetic energy is half I omega squared, where I is the inertia and omega is the angular velocity. After some time, the wheel comes to rest and kinetic energy is utilized in overcoming friction at the bearings. And also the temperature of the wheel and the bearings rises, and the increase in the internal energy is equal to the original kinetic energy of the flywheel. Similarly, consider another example. We will consider two flags, capital A and capital B. These two flags are connected by a glass tube provided with a stopcock. Let capital A flask contain air at high pressure and capital B is evacuated. Therefore, we should understand that the system should be isolated from the surroundings. Suddenly, if the stopcock is opened, air rushes from capital A to capital B, the pressure in capital A decreases and the volume of the air also increases. All the above three examples, though different, are thermodynamical processes involving change in thermodynamical coordinates. Also, in accordance with the first law of thermodynamics, the principle of conservation of energy is not violated because the total energy of the system is conserved. It is also well clear that with the initial conditions described above, the three processes will take place. Let us consider the possibility of the above three processes taking place in the reverse direction. In the first case, if the reverse process is possible, the block B should transfer heat to A and initial conditions should be restored. In the second case, if the reverse process is possible, the heat energy must again change to kinetic energy and the flywheel should start rotating with the initial angular velocity omega. In the third case, if the reverse process is possible, the air in B must flow back to A and the initial condition should be obtained. But it is a matter of common experience that none of the above condition for the reverse process are reached. It means that the direction of the process cannot be determined by knowing the thermodynamical coordinates in the two end states. To determine the direction of a process, a new thermodynamical coordinates has been devised by Clausius, and this is called the entropy of the system. Similar to the internal energy, entropy is also a function of state of a system. For any possible process, the entropy of any isolated system should increase or remain constant. The process in which there is a possibility of decrease in entropy cannot take place. If the entropy of an isolated system is maximum, any change of state will mean decrease in entropy and hence that change of state will not take place. To conclude, a process in which the entropy of an isolated system decreases do not take place, or for all processes taking place in isolated system, the entropy of the system should increase or remain constant. It means a process is irreversible if the entropy decreases when the direction of the process is reversed. A process is said to be irreversible if it cannot be retracted back exactly in the opposite direction. During an irreversible process, the heat energy is always used to overcome friction. Now, let us recapitulate what we have learned in this lecture. Heat is defined as the energy in transit. Heat is only used when there is a transfer of energy between two or more systems. The first law of thermodynamics states that the amount of heat given to a system is equal to the sum of the increase in the internal energy of the system and external work done. Changing from one state to another by changing the thermodynamic coordinates is called a process. These are the questions after the end of this lecture. Prove that the heat gained by one system is equal to the heat lost by the other system. Differentiate heat and work as a path function. What are the similarities between heat and work? Define entropy. Now, we come to end of this lecture. Thank you.